Proofs usually fall into two categories, depending on their premises, where you get your data from. The outside world or the inside world, the cosmos or the psyche. So arguments for the existence of God are usually classified as cosmological proofs when they take their starting point or their data or their premises from something we observe in the physical cosmos, or psychological when they take their starting point from something that we observe in ourselves. I'll start with the 5 most famous cosmological proofs. Some of you know these already, many of you don't, so this is just kind of an elementary philosophy lesson. I don't mean to insult those of you who find this very common and ordinary and familiar. Thomas Aquinas summarized them nicely in his famous 5 ways for proving the existence of God. The first one is the argument from motion, or rather change. Not just motion in space, but any kind of change. The one feature that we find everywhere in the universe is change. Nothing stays the same. Even the stars grow old. Change is the movement from a state of potentiality to a state of actuality. Something has to have a potential for change. Unless there's kinetic energy in something, you can't generate heat out of it. And some things have potential for one thing, and some things have potential for another thing. Water can make you wet, fire can make you hot, not vice versa. Nothing can change itself, because nothing can actualize itself without being, first of all, actual. You can't give what you don't have. That's the basic principle of causality. There can't be more in the effect than in the cause. That's a basic principle of all commonsensical and scientific explanation. Let me just go through that, because that's an assumption of every proof. Suppose you saw a large purple rabbit suddenly appear on this desk. Would you say, oh, well, rabbits happen? No. It had to have a cause. What was the cause? Well, there's no apparent cause. We're not out on the field, and rabbits aren't usually very large and purple. So you might look for a hole in the ceiling that fell down, or a hole in the floor that it came up, or maybe it's not a real rabbit, maybe it's a balloon, maybe I'm a stage magician, maybe I had it up my sleeve. So you do some investigations to find the cause, assuming that there is a cause. And if there's no physical cause possible, then you go to a mental cause. It's not a real rabbit, it's a hallucination, it's a dream, he's hypnotizing me. And if there's no physical cause and no mental cause, you don't then say, oh, well, rabbits happen. Then you look for a supernatural cause. Even a miracle doesn't violate the principle of causality. If only God could create an enormous purple rabbit, well, then God must have created an enormous purple rabbit. But even God can't violate the principle of causality. So, you can't have more in the effect than in the cause. But everything changes something else, and therefore it has the power to change that something else, like a row of dominoes. Now, is there anything else than that series of changing things that we call the universe? Is there an eternal being that is uncaused, that is not brought into existence by something else, that doesn't have the transition from potentiality to actuality, but is eternally and timelessly actual? If so, that being would be God. Well, this argument tries to show that there is such a being by showing that if there isn't this uncaused cause, this absolutely first cause, then there couldn't be caused causes. Because no matter how many beings there are in this chain, no matter how many dominoes there are in the chain, there's got to be a first domino. Otherwise, the chain doesn't move, because motion goes in one direction but not in the other. You can't just take it for granted. You can't just say motion happens. Something causes it. No first cause, no second cause. There are second causes, therefore there must be a first cause.